Hello! Perfect timing. I was just reading about our next hero, Gilgamesh, since I'm, trapped in a library. Anyway, he's the hero in the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is the oldest written story ever. It's so old that it was passed down orally for like 2,000 years before writing was even invented. It was eventually recorded on clay tablets, which were rediscovered and translated only about 150 years ago. Because they're broken and cracked, some pieces of the story are missing. It's also possible there are other tablets that have never been found. I also discovered that many historians agree that Gilgamesh was likely a real person. Specifically, Gilgamesh was likely a king who ruled Uruk, a city in ancient Sumer, which is in modern-day Iraq, around 5,000 or 6,000 years ago. But, as you'll see, the epic takes some, creative liberties with his character.
Sounds like someone's been making good use of their time.
Well, yeah. I'm out of data, and there's no Wi-Fi.
Ugh.
Kidding? Kind of. Actually, it's been really interesting.
Well, perhaps you would like to tell this story.
Me? Yeah. I guess I could give it a shot. Okay, so the Institute has given us some special instructions for this hero. Let's see what it says. At the beginning of the epic, Gilgamesh is already well established as a hero in the traditional sense. What do you think that means? Pause here and circle the adjectives you associate with heroes. The instructions also say, as you listen, identify how Gilgamesh is transformed by his hero's journey by completing the guide to Gilgamesh's transformation. Okay, so we're supposed to complete the guide to Gilgamesh's transformation by describing Gilgamesh's character traits, summarizing the story, and identifying how the events in the story contribute to Gilgamesh's transformation. Seems simple enough. I guess it's story time. Thousands of years ago, the great city of Uruk was ruled by Gilgamesh, a powerful, highly respected king with superhuman strength. His mother was the goddess Ninsun, and his father was human, making him 2/3 god. I'm not sure how that math works, but that's what the tablet says. The point is, Gilgamesh was part god, but still mortal. Anyway, Gilgamesh was brave and strong. He was also arrogant, selfish, and cruel to his people. So the gods created a wild beast man named Enkidu, who was Gilgamesh's equal in strength and power. But Enkidu, who lived amongst the animals in the forest, was kinder and gentler. The gods hoped Enkidu would earn Gilgamesh's respect and be a positive influence on him. Gilgamesh summoned Enkidu to Uruk, and the two wrestled. They were so evenly matched that neither could defeat the other, so they stopped fighting and became best friends. Together, they embarked on many adventures, which mostly involved defeating large animals and monsters. Pause here and complete the first section of the guide. Describe what Gilgamesh was like at the beginning of his story. So, Gilgamesh, the 2/3 god, but still mortal king of Uruk, had met his match, Enkidu. The two of them formed a close bond, but could Enkidu be a positive influence on Gilgamesh as the gods intended? Or would Gilgamesh remain selfish, arrogant, and cruel? One day, Gilgamesh suggested they fight Humbaba, the guardian of the Cedar forest. Enkidu knew how powerful and dangerous Humbaba was, so he tried to convince Gilgamesh it was a bad idea. But did Gilgamesh listen? No! This was their chance to prove how brave and strong they were. So Gilgamesh convinced Enkidu to come along, assuring him there is no way Humbaba would stand a chance against a strong and powerful duo. As Gilgamesh had predicted, Humbaba was no match for the two great warriors. Humbaba begged for his life, but Gilgamesh ignored his pleas. The two killed Humbaba and brought his head back to Uruk as a symbol of their triumph. Pause here to complete the second section of the guide by summarizing what happened in the Cedar forest and describing what traits and qualities Gilgamesh demonstrates during this part of the story. So Gilgamesh refused to listen to Enkidu's warning and confidently, or maybe arrogantly, conquered the mighty Humbaba. Back in Uruk, the goddess Ishtar appeared. She had developed a crush on Gilgamesh, but Gilgamesh rejected her. She did not take this well. Enraged, Ishtar asked her father, Anu, the sky god, to send his bull of heaven, which is basically a really, really big bull, to attack Gilgamesh and Enkidu. Obviously, sending a giant monster bull on a rampage through a major metropolitan area caused chaos and destruction. Enkidu and Gilgamesh killed the bull, preventing Uruk from being completely destroyed. But this infuriated the gods because the bull was sacred. So the gods decided to kill Enkidu as revenge. Enkidu became gravely ill, and it was soon clear that he would not survive. Gilgamesh was obviously upset that his friend was dying, but Enkidu's inevitable death also brought Gilgamesh to a startling realization. If Enkidu, who was supposedly to be Gilgamesh's equal, could be killed, then Gilgamesh could be killed too. Remember, even though he was 2/3 god, which again doesn't really make sense, Gilgamesh was still technically mortal. On his deathbed, Enkidu went through a whole range of emotions: despair, anger, denial, and finally acceptance. He then asked Gilgamesh not to forget him. Then he died. Gilgamesh was distraught. Listen, I let a filthy mat of hair grow over my body and donned the skin of a lion and roamed the wilderness. Sad, right? Gilgamesh vowed not to let Enkidu be forgotten. He organized an elaborate funeral and built monuments in Enkidu's honor. But Gilgamesh became consumed by his fear of death, which led him to determine that the only reasonable solution to his problem was to become immortal. Pause here to complete the third section of the guide by summarizing what happened after Gilgamesh and Enkidu returned to Uruk, and describing how Gilgamesh was transformed by these events. At the start of his journey, Gilgamesh is powerful and brave, but also arrogant, selfish, and cruel. By the end, Gilgamesh is sad, alone, and afraid. And one could argue he's still selfish and arrogant. I mean, he makes Enkidu's death all about himself, you know? Anyway, the end.
That is only the first half of Gilgamesh's journey.
You're kidding.
To find the end of Gilgamesh's journey, you must complete your ordeal.
Ordeal? Like the ordeal?
Yes.
How do I do that exactly?
It's all in the letter.
Dearest Anthony, to complete your ordeal and uncover the end of Gilgamesh's journey, you must navigate the maze of Gilgamesh and learn about his search for immortality. As you make your way through the maze, find his 4 moments of transformation, or the events that cause Gilgamesh to change and grow. Once you have found all 4 of the moments of transformation, you will be able to exit the maze and begin your journey home. Good luck and bon voyage. Sincerely, the Mentor. P.S. To enter the maze, use the portal.
The what? Wait, has that always been here? I feel like I would have noticed that before. Well, before we enter the maze, let's make sure we know what we're doing. We have to navigate through the maze, learn about the second half of Gilgamesh's journey, and find the 4 moments of transformation, like when Enkidu's demise caused the formerly brave and fearless Gilgamesh to transform into a shell of himself who was consumed by his fear of death. You'll find your entrance to the maze in your lesson materials. All right, see you on the other side.